Good Monday afternoon, and thank you for joining us on KARE 11 News Now. I'm Rena Sargentopoulos. Let's get right to your headlines. Today is a KARE 11 weather impact alert day because a big chunk of Minnesota does have a high fire danger. We issue these alerts when the conditions could be life-threatening or impact your plans. Already, crews are fighting two major fires in different parts of the state. Up north, state fire officials say a fire in the Superior National Forest is 0% contained, burning 750 acres. Several people have been evacuated, and there are some cabins that are in danger. Out west near Granite Falls, the Gulf Fire has burned nearly 150 acres. All this, of course, also prompting air quality alerts here in the Twin Cities. We're going to check in with meteorologist Mace Michaels in just a little while to get your full forecast. A breakthrough in the Israel-Hamas war. This afternoon, Hamas leaders say they have released Israeli-American hostage Idon Alexander. Those cheers happening when he was handed over to the Red Cross. Alexander is currently being evaluated by Israeli forces. Officials with Hamas say it was an act of goodwill to try and revive those talks to end the war. Idon has been held by Hamas for 19 months and is believed to be the last living U.S. citizen left to be released. Let's take a live look from the White House today, where President Trump has signed an executive order he says will immediately cut prescription drug prices. The White House is calling it, quote, one of the most consequential executive orders in U.S. history that will equalize drug costs throughout the world. The president says he will lower prices by at least 30% and maybe even up to 80%.
Starting today, the United States will no longer subsidize the health care of foreign countries, which is what we were doing. We're subsidizing others' health care. Countries where they paid a small fraction of what for the same drug that what we pay many, many times more for. And we'll no longer tolerate profiteering and price gouging from Big Pharma. But again, it was really the countries that forced Big Pharma to do things that, frankly, I'm not sure they really felt comfortable doing. But they've gotten away with it, these countries. European Union has been brutal.
The order directs the Department of Health and Human Services to find price-cutting goals in 30 days and then start negotiations between the administration and drug makers. The measure is expected to face significant legal challenges. Wall Street riding high this afternoon as the markets react to a deal between the U.S. and China, reducing tariffs that added to each other's imports. In a joint statement, U.S. and Chinese officials say they will cut import duties by 115% for 90 days. U.S. trade officials say they will meet with their Chinese counterparts again before the 90 days are up. Treasury Secretary Scott Bessent shared a little of their strategy going into the next round of talks.
So it will be a matter of what is the equilibrium level on tariffs and also getting China to open their markets for American companies. Because China actually has a low tariff regime, but it is the non-tariff trade barriers that can be the most difficult to overcome. So we will be focusing on the non-tariff trade barriers and the subsidies, and the idea that China can become more open to American business, and the things that are sold into the U.S. Can not have the same level of subsidy.
Well, news of a deal is great. There are concerns about supply chain issues as fewer cargo ships are arriving in the U.S. from China. Now, that could mean fewer goods on shelves for some consumers. Jen Sullivan explains why the prices could still rise despite those trade talks.
U.S. markets opening strongly Monday morning following the announcement that the U.S. and China have agreed to roll back tariffs temporarily.
I think it's really a very historic fresh start in the relationship between the U.S. and China.
Overall tariffs on Chinese goods will drop from 145% to 30%, and China will cut tariffs on American imports from 125% to 10%. But U.S. consumers could still see higher prices on goods because of supply chain concerns.
We currently do not have any container ships at port right now.
On Friday, officials at the Port of Seattle said cargo traffic bound for the U.S. hasn't been this low since the pandemic. A similar situation at the Port of Los Angeles, where 0 cargo vessels had departed from China Friday as well. Volume at the busiest U.S. ports has dropped more than 30%. These Chinese ships typically carry a variety of products that U.S. consumers depend on. Here's why that's a big concern. The Port of LA is one of the largest in the world. According to their stats, China and Hong Kong are the biggest importers, bringing in $120 billion worth of goods last year to this port alone.
We may be seeing empty products on the shelves. So this is now going to be felt by the consumer.
Once the cargo hits U.S. ports, the goods take as little as a few weeks to hit store shelves. But with fewer ships arriving, some U.S. leaders warn consumers will feel the crunch.
Nothing is actually going to come from this other than continued higher prices and uncertainty, instability.
For Consumer Watch, I'm Jen Sullivan.
New today, Burnsville police are looking for whoever shot and killed a man at an apartment complex this weekend. It happened at the Chancellor Manor Apartments near Burnsville Center. Police say they found the 22-year-old man with multiple gunshot wounds. He later died at the hospital. So far, no one has been arrested. Burnsville police say neighboring police departments are helping them with the investigation since many of its officers are in D.C. for the National Police Memorial. Speaking of that memorial, in 2 days, Burnsville police officers Paul Elmstrand and Matthew Ruge and Minneapolis officer Jamal Mitchell will be honored in Washington, D.C. Our Morgan Wolf will be joining over 200 Minnesotans out there tomorrow to cover the events of National Police Week. You can follow our coverage on air and streaming on KARE 11+. A rural Wisconsin county that has been at the center of regional and national mega stories like the kidnapping and escape of Jamie Kloss, the international sex trafficking case against the former CEO of Abercrombie & Fitch, and the longest on-ground tornado ever recorded in Wisconsin. Now, the man at the helm of the sheriff's office that dealt with each of those events is Chris Fitzgerald, and he's stepping down. Our Lou Ragoose spoke with him.
I think we put community policing on the map in Northwest Wisconsin.
There aren't many sheriffs across Wisconsin or Minnesota with the name and face recognition of Chris Fitzgerald.
We have teams ready to respond at a moment's notice when a tip comes in.
For 17 years, Sheriff Fitz has been the face of the Barron County Sheriff's Department through crimes and natural disasters that receive coverage far beyond the county of 46,000 people. When a tornado ripped through a mobile home park in Chautauqua and killed one person, Fitz kept the spotlight on the community and support poured in.
That's what makes Barron County great.
In that disaster, Fitz realized his power as the elected sheriff in bringing people together.
Taking that power and harnessing that into a community is what has driven my career.
That drive was so important after the kidnapping of Jamie Kloss.
We just don't know where this 13-year-old girl is.
With Jamie missing and her parents murdered, Sheriff Fitz's mantra became never give up hope.
It's amazing the will of that 13-year-old girl.
How often do you still think about the Jamie Kloss case?
Oh, every day. And the impact that it had. I mean, Jamie is the hero.
88 days after her abduction, Jamie escaped, and Sheriff Fitz didn't hide his excitement.
You know, my legs started to shake, man. It was awesome. It was because of her strength. We learned that we never give up on our kids. We never give up hope.
Do you still stay in contact with Jamie or her family?
Her family, I know she's doing good, and that's all that matters to me.
After all the high-profile stories, the lifelong Barron County native has decided to step down from his high-stress law enforcement career.
This department's in great hands.
He's taken a job in public relations for local internet company Mosaic Technologies.
What do you hope your legacy will be here?
I think community policing. I think community coming together, and I hope the community thinks I did a good job.
Chief Fitz's last day will be June 1st, and they have a likely candidate to be appointed to replace him. Chief Deputy Jason Hagan, who investigated the Kloss case, has actually been here longer than Sheriff Fitzgerald. Back to you.
Well, if you've owned an Apple device since 2014, you may be eligible for part of a $95 million class action settlement. The lawsuit accused the tech company's voice assistant Siri of spying on users. The initial suit was filed in 2021 in federal court. Users said their private conversations were being recorded by their devices after Siri was unintentionally activated. Although a settlement was agreed upon, the company has denied those allegations. That's according to a legal notice obtained by USA Today. There is a hearing tentatively scheduled for August to approve the settlement. All right, let's talk Timberwolves. 2 wins away from moving on to the Western Conference Finals, one step closer after taking Game 3 on Saturday night. Now, tonight's Game 4 still in San Francisco. That one tips off at 9. It's a late one for us. But if they get another win on the road, the Wolves will return to Target Center with a chance to close the series on Wednesday. That would be awesome in front of the home crowd. Game 5 is at 8:30. Tickets are still on sale. They start at around $100. Now, the Frost are also leading their series in the fight for the Walter Cup, going up 2-1 against Toronto at the X last night. They went up 3-0 right off the bat in the first, and that proved to be the difference maker. Final score, get this, 7-5. It's a high-scoring game. Game 4 is this Wednesday at 6, and it could seal the series. Tickets start at $50. Stick with us. More news and weather coming up after the break.